Yes, this is John G. Sutton. Here we are, Tales from the Jails. Got a few little stories to tell you about my time at Strangeways. Today, certainly, we'll start with me working as a hospital officer. And as part of my duties as an hospital officer, I was attached to the recruitment team just when they were doing interviews. And I'll be part of the process is first of all, as an applicant to join the prison service, you have to take an exam, which is a standard civil service exam. And if you pass that exam, then you get told on the day that you've passed the exam and scheduled to attend again. The first step is you've got to have a medical, and as part of the medical you have to be weighed, you've got to have your eyes tested, you've got to be measured, you've got to make sure that you can read and all the rest of it. Anyway, the hospital officer in charge of the medicals for a period of time was myself. So anyway, it was fairly straightforward, you know. You get about, on a day, you'd probably get about a dozen recruits come in, and they come in to see me one at a time, and I've got like a clinic, you know. And I'm wearing a white tunic with a stethoscope and all the rest of it. Look the part, you know. Well, I mean, I'm a qualified nursing officer, so I am the part, I am the man. So they come in and they have to bring a sample of urine. Let me tell you this, it's very strange that the people's idea of bringing a sample of urine, because what I've got to do is I've got to take one of these dipsticks in and dip the urine to make sure, you know, to look for ketones and various other signs of anomalies in the urine. And this lady come in, great big lump of a lady, big lady, said, have you brought a sample of your urine in? She said, I have, and she brought this a 1.5 litre bottle of, it obviously had been Pepsi bottle, but it was now full of her urine. How had she got it in there? 1.5 litres of it. I just took my little stick, dipped it in the end, lifted it out, examined it, was perfectly clear. Said, thank you very much, would you mind emptying it down the toilet for me, please? 1.5 litres of piss, imagine that. I didn't ask her how it managed to get in there. Anyway, strange things. These recruits, the most of them, you just had to weigh them. They had a certain, had to be able to read at a distance and all the rest of it, all the statistics. Anyway, I had this lady come in, and that beautiful young woman, probably about 30 years of age, you know, said, do sit down, you know, and all the rest, test the urine, you know, make sure she could read the thing. And also I said, I've now got to weigh you and to measure you. And I said, I won't be a minute. So I turned away to do something, and I turned around again. She'd started to take all her clothes off. Seriously. She'd removed her blouse, and she was just about to unclip her bra. I said, what are you doing? She said, I'm undressing for the examination. I said, undressing for the examination? I said, I'm going to measure your height, you know. I said, will you put... No, she says, I don't mind. I said, madam, you might not mind. I said, but I do. Put your clothes back on, for goodness sake. I'm sure that she got through the process very well, actually. She was just what the prison service needed. prepared to go that extra mile. Imagine that. Yeah, it's true, that. I was talking to one of the heads of the recruitment unit. There were a team of three of them. This was a governor, grade 2 governor, and I said to him, tell me, I said, there's some quite unique, shall we say, unique officers that we find in the prison service. I said, as the head of the recruitment team, I said, what exactly would you say that you were looking for? What's that one quality that you're looking for? He said, well, I'll tell you the truth. He said, what we're looking for are the biggest psychopaths in Britain. I said, you see, I said, you've certainly got some. I said, I know, because I am working with them. Yeah, that's what he said. That we're looking for. Yeah. Anyway, another. To get off that now. Yeah. Another time I was working nights in the prisons, and I was in the young offenders unit, K wing, H wing, I wing. Anybody who's been in Strangeways will know that, and it's the unit, not the main body of the prison. It's the next unit up, and that's where they kept the young offenders, the postal allocation centre, and the YP unit, young prisoners. That's where they were at this particular time. So I was on nights, and had a little room where we went and sat in there, and you could have a cup of coffee, and then you go and do the rounds and check your wings. There was an officer in charge of K wing, and officer in charge of I wing, and H wing, and all the rest of it. Yeah. And you went round the place and checked all the inmates were all right. So I was sat there having a cup of tea. It'd be about 11:30 at night, and this night patrol officer came in. Night patrol officers are not established prison officers. They are like recruited to act as assistants. You know, they no doubt get reasonably paid, but they were not commissioned prison officers. You know. So this night patrol officer says, "Come on, have a look at this." I said, "Have you got a problem?" He says, "No." He said, if we walk very quietly, he said, onto this. He said, "I've just had a look." He says, you can see this guy. He's wanking away." I said, "You want me to go to somebody's cell and watch them masturbating, you dirty old bastard?" I said, "Are you serious?" Say he was serious. That's no doubt why he got the job, because he wanted to go around watching young boys playing with the willies. I mean, what kind of a carry-on is that? I no point in reporting him. I think the rest were at it as well. Anyway, let me take you back a little bit in time to, what was it, 1975, yeah? When I joined the training school at Lay Hill. That's down near Bristol, by the way. Yeah. And then an open prison, Lay Hill Open Prison. Well, the training school is attached to it in a big old, like, mansion house, you know? Like a country home. It's really rather nice, the country home. I mean, the prison service had ruined it. They turned it into a school for jailers. Anyway, in that particular group of jailers at the time and under training was a guy who I became really friendly with, called Paul. I won't go into any further names, Paul, but he was a big, strapping. I tell you, he looked like a bit like Brian Blessed. Yeah, looked a bit like Brian Blessed, but he was from Yorkshire. He was from Leeds, actually. He'd been a policeman at Leeds, and he decided he didn't like the police force, so he joined the prison service. And he was on there, and Paul really liked to have a drink. And I used to go for a drink with him at night to the prison officers club at Lay Hill Open Prison, where we had the rights to go in as we were under training, you know, so I went in there. So I went in, and it gets to be about 10:30. I said, "Paul, we're going to have to go back. You know, it's bloody dark, you know." "Oh," he said, "I'm going to have one more." I said, "Listen, I'm going back." He said, "No." He said, "I'm having one more." He said, "I'm not walking all down the road," because you had to go out through the prison, onto the main road, down the main road, then turn left into the training school. He said, "I'm not doing that." He said, "I'm cutting back through the farm." I said, "It's dark, Paul." I said, "If you go through the farm," I said, "how do you know your way?" He said, "It'll be straightforward, won't it?" Well, it wasn't straightforward, because between the prison officers club at Lay Hill Open Prison and the actual training school, which was a big house, yeah, there was a farm, and on that farm there were pigs. mean, they were breeding pigs. And I don't know what else they were doing with pigs, whatever you do with pigs, you know. So anyway, I said, listen, I'm going home. No, I'm one more. He says, so he orders himself some more. I'd had enough, so I went. Next morning, we were on parade. What you did in the morning, you lined up for parade, yeah? You lined up for parade. And on this parade, we were all standing there, and somebody said, the hell's that smell? And the principal officer who was taking the parade said, step forward, whoever's been in the pigsty. So Paul stood up out the ranks. He said, I fell in last night. And he was still dressed in the same clothing that he'd been in the bar with me. And what had happened was, he tried to walk back through the farm, climbed over the fence to cut through the pigsty. Of course, it was full of slurry, full of mud, and full of pig shit, and he had fallen down, not once or twice, but numerous times. He was caked in pig shit, and the stench was incredible. Apparently, his roommates had kicked up and thrown him out of his room that night, because he just stank the place out, and he stank the parade out. The officer in charge, the governor in charge of the training school, sent for him and said, apparently said to Paul, I believe you've got a drinking problem. And Paul said, I agree, I have. I simply can't afford it. Anyway, he got through it. He was posted to Wormwood Scrubs, where we had some happy adventures, which, by the way, if you're interested, you can read about in my book, which is available on Amazon, Psychic Screw. At the training school also, there was a guy from Strangeways who joined with me in January, I think February of 1975, 1975, and he was an ex-coal merchant, and of course with the Clean Air Act and all that, people were no longer burning coal, they were burning whatever they were burning, central heating and all that. So he'd sold his coal round and joined the prison service, and he turned up at the training school, believe this or not, in a Rolls Royce Silver Shadow. I was in it. I was in it with him for a ride a couple of times, and we were going down the road leading up to the schoolhouse, the old mansion house, and as we were driving, we passed this bloke on a bicycle. That was the governor in charge of the training school, riding a push bike. And me and this other trainee prison officer, we were in this big Rolls Royce. Imagine that, yeah? Strange world, isn't it, yeah? Anyway, happy days. Tales from the jails. Hope you're enjoying these, by the way.